G'day, I'm Paul. I've got some exciting news. The Ford Focus ST is finally available as an automatic. There it is right there. I know, if you're a bit like me, you die a little bit on the inside when people go for an automatic over a manual, especially in a hot hatch. But research shows that in Australia, when presented with the option of an auto or a manual in a hot hatch, 75% of buyers go the auto, which is why Ford has put so much effort into making an automatic version of the Focus ST. It's priced at just under $45,000, and both the auto and the manual are the exact same price. I think that does show you that most people are going to go for the manual anyway, but this car competes with cars like the Hyundai i30N, the Honda Civic Type R, the Renault Megane RS. There is a litany of competitors in the segment, and it's really hotly contested because if you can't afford a full-fruit sports car, people come to these and they are becoming a really nice purchase option. Now, if you are a little impatient and you want to skip ahead to other parts of this review, you can use the time codes up there or just scroll down to the description where you'll see the links to skip ahead. And if you haven't done so already, I'd love it if you could hit the subscribe button and press the bell icon so you can find out every single time a manufacturer makes a gearbox that us car lovers don't love. Let's talk exterior. It's a pretty handsome looking car, isn't it? Especially in this blue. So you can pick from 7 different colors, and aside from the base white and a red, the rest are $650. I'm a really big fan of the design because it just, I don't know, it's kind of matured, and that's what the Focus ST needed. It's gone from being this loutish hoon car to, you know, something that your mother would quite like to see you in. So it's got that big mouth there for the 4-cylinder turbocharged petrol engine. Up the front here, you have full LED headlights with an LED daytime running light. And if we squeeze around to the side here, you'll see the wheels. Now, these are impressive because Michelin Pilot Sport 4S tires as standard, 19-inch alloy wheels, 235mm wide rubber. The brakes, 330mm rotors with floating calipers, and then 302mm at the rear. The thing that's worth keeping in mind with these brakes is Ford Performance rather, has designed them to withstand track use. So that means if you do a lot of track days, these are going to last a test of time. Hyundai did a similar thing with the i30N, and buyers love that sort of thing because they can take their cherished possession to the track instead of just driving it outside all the time. In terms of weight, a little over 1,500 kilos. It's lighter than the previous generation Focus RS and has better aero as well. If you come around to the back here, privacy glass, and then a really neat looking rear end. So you've got LED tail lights, so they help the car stand out nicely at night. You get the ST badging on the back there, dual exhaust outlets, and then this garnish trim along the back. It's a really nice looking car. They've really integrated the spoiler nicely and just given it a sporty look without being too in your face. So what's the inside of the Ford Focus ST like? Built in Germany, I think that should mean quality. It does look a little bit bland, if I'm honest. There's a lot of black around here. It is separated by some of these highlights, but it's just like black on black on black on black on black. So I really wish they just allowed you to personalize it a bit and just add a little bit of flair to it. But how well built is it? Let's get our hardness tester. So this hardness tester we use because only motoring journalists care about how soft a soft touch dashboard is, but this allows us to quantify it. It measures on a scale of 0 to 100, where 0 is really soft and 100 is really hard. So let's try it out on this dashboard here. That's pretty reasonable. It's about a 70, and then we'll try it here on this center console. That's really good. That's nice and soft to the touch. Now, what about build quality? Okay, so I found a couple of issues. Let's start over here. That whole center tunnel moves as you sort of move that around. And then this tray here, which we've got keys in at the moment, is bent. So as a result of that, when you go to put it into here, it doesn't sit flat. I know it's only a small thing, but seriously, it's a brand new car. I don't understand how that comes bent already. Let's talk infotainment. So this is Ford's Sync 3 infotainment system. You can see a full detailed review of that by clicking up here. But the basics of it are an 8-inch infotainment screen. It's incredibly high resolution and it's very easy to use as well. I'll walk you through it quickly. This is our main home screen. It's divided into sections with the navigation. You get your phone and then also connectivity with your music. And if we dive through the menus here, audio allows you to have AM, FM, DAB+, digital radio, plus streaming from your phone and Spotify. If we jump over to the phone menu, you could use the on-screen commands, or you can simply use the voice recognition system. This works incredibly well. One push of that allows you to call anyone you want and enter full navigation addresses. And there's also a clever function here, a do not disturb. So if you are driving, you don't want to take any calls, hit that and nothing will come through, so you can just concentrate on driving. The navigation is really clear and easy to use. It's quite quick, comes with traffic overlays as well. Then on top of that, you have mobile apps that you can connect. So Apple CarPlay and Android Auto is standard. Both of those systems use a connected wired system. It's not wireless, but in that sense, once you do connect it, you don't really have to touch anything. And then on top of that, you can also wirelessly charge your phone. So while you do have it connected to Apple CarPlay or Android Auto, you slot it down here and then it starts charging and away you go. Let's talk about the other features that you get outside of that infotainment system. So there is a 10-speaker B&O Play sound system. You get dual zone climate control with heated front seats. You have radar cruise control with a traffic jam assistant and a self-steering function that keeps the car in the lane going around corners, auto dimming, rear vision mirror, blind spot monitoring, and in terms of safety tech, low and high speed autonomous emergency braking with rear cross traffic alert thrown in for good measure, a really good 180-degree reverse view camera with front and rear parking sensors. We've got the wireless phone charging that we've already seen. Down the bottom here, you've got USB connectivity, another USB port in the center console, 12-volt outlet there as well, and then also a hill holding feature and a stop-start system for the engine. You can also option a panoramic sunroof, which is fitted to this car here. It's a $2,500 option, gives the cabin a bit more ambience, brings a bit more light into it. This is what the key looks like. You've got unlock, lock, boot, and then on the back you have the ST symbol. It's a proximity sensing key, so you just keep that in your pocket. Grab the door handle to unlock the car and then hit the push button to start. Okay, let's talk storage. Where are you going to put your bottles? So up the front here you have grip tabs for the bottles with little spring-loaded sections on them. You can fit 2 bottles in there plus a small coffee cup or something. And then inside the doors, they're carpet lined, and then you can throw a bottle in there and there's a little bit of extra room on the side. In terms of storing other things, we have our wonky tray there with a center console that's big enough for a wallet, keys, other sort of bits and bobs. Your phone can live just here, or it can live in that wireless phone charger. Then in addition to that, you have another tray just off to the side of it. Glove box is decent size with a storage slot at the top for the manual and then enough room down the bottom for other bits and pieces. Now, in terms of comfort, these seats are interesting. So they're Recaro seats, they hug you in beautifully. And the good thing is that even for my body shape here, I feel perfectly in place, but if you were bigger, you still have these outer sections that hold you in nicely. In terms of long distance driving, it took us a while to get to where we're going today, which is the drag strip. You'll see that section shortly, but they're not really amazing for long distance drives. I found that my back was a little bit sore after spending about 2 hours behind the wheel. So while they are comfortable to sit in, I don't know that I'd want to be here for a really long drive behind the wheel, but in terms of the wheel itself, sits really nicely in the hand. It's a nice thick wheel, and then you have a flat bottom on it as well with the ST branding there, and then the paddle shifters nestled in behind it. Let's talk back seat comfort, and we'll start off here with knee room. Not amazing. Toe room, not amazing either. Obviously with these Recaro sports seats, especially when I have the seat a little far back in my normal driving position, they kind of chew into a lot of the legroom in the back because they are slightly bigger. They have bigger bolster on the side, and that means you are a little bit robbed of room back here, but it is fine. You'll be able to fit an adult if you need to. Headroom isn't great though. So I'm not massively tall, but my head is already touching the roof there. So it's going to be a little bit cramped if you do have taller passengers. You get a center armrest here with 2 cup holders. They slot into there with those retractable ends on them. And then these in the carpet lined door bins, the bottle fits into there. We'll point out these doors, they are super, super plasticky. Instead of being soft touch like they were with the original Focus that came out, they've gone to like a hard finish on these for some reason, which is a little bit disappointing. You get matte pockets in the back of these two, plus a 12-volt outlet, but there aren't any air vents back here, so you're going to be starved for oxygen on hot days, but you do get ISOFIX points on the outboard seats. So while you do get a great sound system, you lose out on cargo capacity because under the cargo floor here is the subwoofer for that B&O Play sound system. It's nestled in right there. So instead of having 340 odd litres of space, you only have around 270. So it's all eaten up by that subwoofer, which is a great shame. Top tether points on each of the back seats. And I'll show you how they fold as well. You whip these out of position and then the seats fold like this. And then on top of that, you can also remove this so that you do have a little bit of extra room, but there's nowhere for this to go. So you're gonna have to leave that at home We'll pop our bags in to see how well they fit. No problems at all. So while the boot space is slightly compromised because of the subwoofer, you do still have enough space for a big suitcase and then storage on either side with hooks as well if you need to tie anything down. So we're driving the Ford Focus ST, and powering this car is an interesting engine. So it's a 2.3 litre EcoBoost. It's similar to the engine that was last used in the Focus RS, but also similar to the engine currently used in the 4-cylinder version of the Mustang. This just has a little less power and torque. It produces 206 kilowatts of power and 420 Newton meters of torque, and that's a fair bit for a front-wheel drive car, which is why they've fitted it with these 235mm wide tyres, just to give it that extra traction out on the road. In addition to that, underneath the car, you have what they call an ELSD. It's a mechanical limited slip differential with an electrically actuated clutch, and it allows it to vary torque between 0 and 100% locking across that front axle. So it can be a true limited slip differential at the drop of a hat whenever the computer says that it needs to be. This is the first time ever this entire package has been mated to an automatic transmission. It uses a 7-speed auto, but it's very different to what you'd expect from a 7-speed auto because it starts life as an 8-speed. Ford then removed second gear because second and third were too close together in terms of their ratios. So it is now exclusively a 7-speed torque converter. No dual clutch business here. They kind of ran out of money when it came to developing one for this platform. And then of course you can get, for the same price, a 6-speed manual transmission. One of the benefits of the automatic is fuel consumption. It isn't really that thirsty, especially when you fit 7 cogs to it. It uses a combined 8.6 litres of fuel per 100 kilometres. But remember, it lives on a diet of 95 RON premium unleaded petrol, so make sure you budget for that. How quick is it? Well, Ford claims a 0 to 100 dash of 5.7 seconds for the manual and 6 seconds flat for the automatic. We had a drag strip at our disposal, so we decided to go down there to see how quick this was for 0 to 100, also how quick it was across the quarter mile, and then how quick it is against the Golf GTI, which is kind of the default choice for a hot hatch in this segment. This is what happened. Okay, so automatic Ford Focus ST, official claim is 6 seconds 0 to 100, but what I want to do is go through each of the modes. So right now I'm in comfort, I have stop start on, I'm just going to pound the throttle and we'll see what happens and see how close we get to the claim. So here we go. Got a wheel slip, so traction control lighting up there. Alrighty, just hit 100. Let's see how we went there. So 6.5 seconds. Not bad for everything in comfort mode and with the amount of wheel slip that we had. Let's give that another shot. Okay, next up is sport mode. I'm going to leave all the stability controls on. So one click of that puts it into sport mode. I'll load it up a little bit and then just pound the throttle and we will see what happens. Here we go, loading it up. A little bit of wheel slip, but properly stuck into it, into second as well. And there is 100. Okay, how are we looking? 6.5 seconds again. Okay. I think it's time for us to step up the ante here. We'll do sport mode again, but this time with stability control off. Next up, it is sport mode, but I'm going to put it into ESC Sport, which I think is like a limited stability control mode. It should let it get a little bit of slip off the line before we shoot off. So let's see if it makes any difference. Here we go. Okay, there's a lot more wheel slip there. Okay, 80 and then 100 k's an hour. Okay, that is much better. 6.2 seconds. Okay, final run here for the Focus ST Automatic is race mode, but I'm going to switch off stability control altogether. So you just push and hold, it comes up with a message there. Okay, that is off. Let's see if we can get a better time now. Here we go. Okay, that feels better. That feels really nice, actually. All right, and there's 100. Oh, that is better. 5.8 seconds. That is really impressive. So 5.8 seconds in race mode with stability control off. Okay, final run is quarter mile. I'm going to leave it all in the fastest mode, which was race mode with stability control off. Let's see how quick it is down the quarter mile. Roll to a stop. Hit reset on that. Here we go. Load it up a bit. All right. A little bit of torque steer, 90, 100, it's piling on speed nicely, 130, 140, 150, 160, and bang, there it is, about 170 k's an hour. All right, let's see what kind of time we pulled there. Okay, 14.3 seconds across the quarter mile at 162.9 kilometers an hour. And I'll see if we got any better on our acceleration as well. Hopefully that was the same. Okay, slightly slower on the acceleration at 6 seconds. So in theory, if it matched its 0 to 100 time, or its best 0 to 100 time of 5.8, you'd probably get a flat 14-second quarter mile. Okay, this is the one I've been waiting for. Golf GTI, it's kind of the default choice for a lot of people when it comes to hot hatches. Let's see whether the new Ford Focus ST is quicker. That Golf GTI is the performance, so it has the mechanical limited slip differential, has the 2-litre turbocharged petrol engine, it's got a dual clutch gearbox, it's been run in as well, it's warm. Everyone's ready to go, we just need to do it. So let's get our countdown.
3, 2, 1, go!
Okay, there's a lot of wheel slip there. This surface isn't amazing. There's 100. Oh, let's go. 140, we're ahead of him. We're pulling away so slightly. 160. Bang, there's 170. Oh, he was catching us just near the end there. So 0 to 100 in 6 seconds flat, and the quarter mile in 14.4 seconds. Keen to see how he went. James, what time did you get there?
14.9 at 161.6.
Okay, so we were quicker by pretty much half a second. So, the new Ford Focus ST, in automatic at the very least, is quicker than the Golf GTI performance. But keep in mind, there is a new Golf GTI coming. So obviously it will be quicker again, but really impressive job here by Ford with the Focus ST. There you go, pretty impressive. This automatic is a good gearbox, especially when it comes to trying to go as fast as you can in a straight line. So I already went through the drive modes when we did the drag races, but what's it like out here on country roads? So everything's in comfort mode at the moment, in the normal mode. I think someone forgot to tell them what comfort and normal actually means, because this is really, really firm. It's far too firm for a car that you want to live with day to day. But one push of the S button on the steering wheel activates sport mode, so the steering feels like it gets a little heavier and the throttle response is sharper. Now, it is way firmer. It is sort of throwing us around all over the place here, but let's have a look at how this gearbox goes. So the sport mode is sharp enough and upshifts are quick, but if you do decide to go manual and take over using the paddle shifters, downshifts are really slow. Like I'm not expecting it to be DSG quick, because it is quick on upshifts, but downshifts seem like they take a long time to come in. But it is quick, I tell you what, it is piling on speed. This engine has in sport and race mode anti-lag. What it does is to keep the turbocharger spooled, when you're off the throttle, it continues that ignition cycle on the exhaust side. So it keeps the turbocharger spooled so that if you do have it locked in a gear, and here I'll pop it into third gear, and we'll just go on the throttle, let off, there's no real engine braking. And as a result of that, you're always getting more throttle. It's actually really impressive. I haven't driven a hot hatch that feels this responsive before. Ford even says that once you crawl this off the line, it is as responsive as a Focus RS. What about race mode? You flick that into race mode and it feels like it's getting firmer. Eagle, can you just look up the number for my chiropractor? I'm going to have to give them a call tomorrow. It is much, much firmer now. The throttle response is sharper and it's holding gears more. It's also putting the stability control into a limited slip mode. So it's able to give you a little bit more traction loss, but it is still taking control of everything. This thing is absolutely hammering. So anti-lag, ELSD, you've got all the acronyms and all the fun stuff that you need, but what's it actually like when you throw it around a bit? It's pretty remarkable actually. So you've got a lot of feedback through the steering. It is slightly heavy, but you get a lot of communication. The brake pedal feels great. Those rotors pull up the car in no time. But then on top of that, Ford has developed these for track days, which means if you do track driving, they are going to withstand a punishing, just like the i30N. They wanted to make sure those brakes were good for enthusiasts who actually want to drive their cars. So that whole package is great, but it really is let down by the ride. It is so firm. And if you're like most people who are going to go out on a country road to go fang their car on a weekend, It's this type of thing that's going to end up upsetting you, because if you hit a mid-corner bump, it just starts shuffling the car around. But if you put those things to one side, it has a tremendous amount of traction, and that ELSD system is giving you the ability to get all of the traction you need, all of the torque that you need to the ground, without having an inside wheel start flaring up and doing a skid like you had in the old Focus ST. As we continue driving this car, I'm really not loving this gearbox. I'm not a huge fan of dual clutch transmissions in city cars because they just tend to not be very good, but in sports cars they serve a purpose and they work well generally, especially for going for faster drives. This auto is just, I don't know, it's just a bit slow and it feels like a bit of an afterthought. Yes, it is good in and around the city, but it just doesn't have any emotion. I'm not hearing any backfiring, any cracks and pops. You get that in the manual, you get that in the i30N. I just don't get anything here, and it's, I don't know, I just feel like it's a missed opportunity. Ford really should have focused a bit more, pardon the pun, on this automatic transmission to give this car a bit more soul and emotion. And the other downside to this automatic transmission is that it doesn't have launch control. You get launch control in a Golf GTI, for example, in the auto, but you don't get it here, and you do get it in the manual. So it is another downside to picking the automatic over the manual. Okay, back to normal, quiet, sort of comfort mode. What is this like as a daily driver? So visibility out of the cabin is great. It's just like a normal Focus in that regard. I can see perfectly out the front, decent sized wing mirrors, visibility out the back is good as well. So if you are going to be commuting to work, this has all the creature comforts you need from a daily driver. But if you go beyond the city limits, it really is just going to do your head in with all this droning. The Michelin Pilot Sport 4S is a pretty noisy tyre to start with, but as speeds reach about 100 kilometers an hour on this coarse chipped surface, there is a fair bit of noise inside the cabin. I don't know whether you'd fix it by getting a different set of tyres or whether it's inherent to the Focus ST, but yeah, it is getting pretty full on here, and if you do a lot of highway driving, especially out in the country, it's something you're gonna have to think about. So the Ford Focus ST, I want to love it, but I don't know, I just don't love it, especially here in automatic. The automatic gearbox is such a letdown. It is fine in the technical sense that you can live with it day to day, but it just doesn't have the cracks, the pops, the motion, you know, the soul that you expect from a car like this. It's a hot hatch. I don't know, it's just not there. And it's also let down by a couple of those niggly quality and build, fit and finish issues inside. If you are looking at this, yes, it is technically capable. The LSD is great. It handles beautifully, and when it is in the sport and the full attack mode, you'll be able to go do track days confidently and have some fun with it. But as a day-to-day car, remember, it is pretty firm for what it is, and if you go with the automatic over the manual, you're going to miss out on all the theatrics that you'd expect from a bona fide hot hatch like this. So let me know in the comments below what you think. Have you got one of these on order? Have you driven this? Do you own the previous generation Focus ST? And would you go manual or automatic? Let me know in the comments below, and if you enjoyed this video, I'd love it if you could hit the like button, follow it up with a subscribe, and also press the bell icon so you can find out every single time we drive something new. But until next time, take it easy.